Hello guys, welcome to this video. I spoke to Nick Swear about some very interesting and unique things. He's a profitable player playing in Malaysia for the past 8 years. He only became a professional player at the age of 24, something that's impossible to think about for most athletes. If you're interested in knowing more about how mental preparation can help you or the psychological challenges that a profitable player faces, this video is going to talk about that. So let's get into it.
All right, Nick, how long have you been working with me?
I think I saw you through Instagram maybe in February or March, and I contacted you I think a month or two later. So probably been about is it 7 months now or so? And yeah, it's been honestly it's been amazing. I remember I was maybe struggling with certain issues on the field at the beginning of the year, and like obviously, I'm sure we're going to go into more depth in a second, but it's been a total transformation, maybe the way I've looked at football and life, to be honest with you, from the start of the year till now. It's been a fantastic process to be a part of.
Thank you, mate. It's my pleasure to work with you. And that's the second question. Could you briefly, obviously, the things that you feel comfortable sharing, how things were before we started working together, and what was the main transformation that we went through?
Um, I feel like on the field there were certain things that you could see, maybe nerves and a lack of confidence, and not being able to show my full potential in training and in games, to be honest. And that was we kind of regressed back from that and broke down maybe the fundamental reasons why I felt and performed the way I did. And so we were going very, very deep, to be honest with you, to my fundamental and core beliefs. And we looked at my core beliefs and maybe how I could adapt them and work with them to be more productive for myself. And like I said before, being honest with you, it's been when we worked on that, the we worked on the process. It's a bit cheesy, but we worked on the process and the fundamentals. It had a massive impact on the outcomes, which my performances, particularly in in training and games. But I'm being honest, you know, the season probably hasn't been as smooth as normal because of my relationship with the relationship with the coach and the situation in the team. But yourself, Gabriel, has been a massive part of helping me through that. And there's been glimpses of the work paying off from what we've done before, and I think it's only going to improve in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Nick. And in terms of performance, what do you think that was the main differences in before we started the process and after we started the process? Was there any clear sort of evidence from the outside if someone knew the point that you started and towards the end of the season, what somebody from the outside would see in your performance?
So many different things we could say, to be honest. Obviously, as I said before, changing the core beliefs had a profound effect on the way I viewed my football as a whole, to be honest with you. What seemed as a chore and something to be scared of before turned into something I could embrace um, and make me a better player, and as a result, a better person. We worked on what my fundamental reason for playing was, and um, I think you could see that maybe before I was playing through fear, and the change was I was basically embracing each game and each training with the focus of enjoying myself, having fun, and expressing myself. And that transformation, you know, many people, my teammates and the staff could see that. That I suppose I was enjoying my football again, and I think in the professional game sometimes. Uh, sometimes with such an emphasis on results and outcomes, you need that external perspective just to nudge you in the in the right direction as to why you started football. And if you can take that onto the field, I think it's a good combination for success.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's a big part, I think, for every player to develop that. And in terms of personal life, what would you say that changed during the process? You mentioned performance and the coach teammates could perceive that. In personal life, it's harder to notice because some of those differences are hard to perceive from the outside. But from the insides in your personal life, did something change your habits, your emotions, your routines? How was that?
Yeah, I think from the start, you emphasised the maybe holistic approach, looking at the full, as looking at the player as a person rather than just a footballer. And I suppose I've learned to um, maybe to switch off more, to enjoy myself a bit more, and give myself a bit more freedom, which has um, allowed me to feel well, to rest more and recuperate more, which obviously is such a big part of the game. But importantly, it's enjoy. I suppose it's allowed me to enjoy my life a bit more as well. Paradoxically, I suppose the the, the more I do enjoy myself outside and have the freedom and see myself as a human being rather than just a footballer, then the better my performances uh, and were on the field. And as I said, it hasn't been the smoothest year in many ways, but um, turning that on its head, it's been a great opportunity for me to embrace. Like we've worked on the mental resilience and other aspects of mental performance, and even when there's been so many like reasons to maybe be angry and have negative emotions, I've still been able to, with the work we've done, I've still been able to enjoy what um, what's just a part of the process and part of the journey now, rather than it being such a catastrophic event, which it would have been before.
That's great. That's great. And that's a big part of the improvement in your performance also. There's, as you mentioned, there's a big focus, a big emphasis on performance. And we often think that by neglecting the personal side, if you care less about your needs or wants and focus only on the results, you're going to achieve better things. And it's a hard mindset to change because we are influenced by so many different variables in life that it's hard to engage in the process. And as I mentioned, it's been a few months or a long process that you stick to since March. We're now in at the end of January of the next year, so pretty much 10 months
Mm.
after. It's a long-term commitment, and we didn't start with that plan from the beginning. We were adapting the things that you needed,
Yeah.
that you wanted. And in your opinion, what do you think, or how would you rate the commitment that you had from the beginning up until now? How hard was it to stick to the process? How long did it take for you to see results in your personal life, in your performance?
Um, I mean, I suppose when obviously I contacted you in the first place, knowing that I wanted to, um, this was something I wanted to improve on. Obviously, when I thought that um, enthusiasm, it was given back, it was reciprocated 100 times more. To be honest with you, it was like I think we covered so many different aspects throughout the year, whether it was potentially potentially looking at a loan mid-season. Like we said, the stuff on the field, the stuff off the field, and I'd say I noticed a change pretty quickly. Um, like you said, it's a process, and it sometimes you don't see the full um, effects until later in the year. Um, but the small things like um, going into training and making a mistake and then not getting down about it and being able to, be able to put yourself out there again afterwards. Like small things like that, which I'm sure would resonate to people, to some people listening, to others maybe not. But there's kind of lots of small habits that slowly you recognise that instead of going down the old pathway you were going before, with being more self-aware, being more knowledgeable about what you want to achieve in the long run, you then take a separate route, and then gradually that new route would be reinforced and it become natural habit to you. And I'd say this happened in many different scenarios and circumstances, pretty quickly, and they do add up slowly. I mean, they add up overall, and you notice, you start seeing different aspects of yourself, and you start seeing improvements very quickly. To be honest with you, yeah, it's kind of the thing where process, like, when I come back to you each week, we'll analyze the small wins, but over the period of a month or two, you realize that those have amounted into quite substantial changes.
That's great. That's great, man. That all comes down to your commitment. It's a long-term process, as you mentioned, and it only works because you stick to it. And it's my pleasure to be part of this journey with you. I have a tough question. You can answer that from the internal changes or external achievements, but based on the results that you got so far, what are you expecting to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? As I said, it could be internal or external achievements.
Oh, mate, you know me by now. I'm not one to to big myself up or try and say those kind of things. But I mean, I'm at the stage now in my career where the externals aren't maybe as important as we've spoken about before. For me, a big thing this year would just be getting regular game time and enjoying myself and getting into the flow and feeling good about my football again. And because, as I said last year, it was difficult. We had with the situation I had with the coach, it wasn't favourable. So I feel like I'm stronger because of that now. Again, with the work we've done, and I feel like a massive thing for, obviously, externals will be great. If they happen, they happen. But the main thing for me is the internal stuff, and to be enjoying my football and basically playing to my full potential. And I think as a footballer, as a player, that's all you can ask for, and that's all you can control as well.
Okay, bro. Okay, that's a great goal to aim for. We'll have two more questions. If somebody's on the fence in deciding if they're gonna start doing the mental work and starting to work with me or in the academy, what would you tell them?
Obviously, mate, you got to go for it, man. I mean, I think I'm quite I'm not the most outgoing kind of extroverted lad. But the way I see it is that um, the reason why I've been able to do what I've done in my career, I've been fortunate as well. There's a lot of luck, but one of the reasons is because I do the extras, I do the stuff working on my body, I do the stuff to work on other areas of my game. And for me, this is me doing the extras, going to the gym, but for my mental state. And for me, it's a no-brainer. You got it. It's the mental part of the game is so fundamental to everything, and it's if you really if you want to play to your full potential or at least get close to it, then I think everyone can improve at the mental game. And I think that it's even if you just try it out for the experience, I think it's going to be beneficial for you. And if you really commit to it, there's a lot you can take from it.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate the recommendation. Last question. Throughout the process, we have used different things, different methods, different tools. Some things that are a bit subjective, like the conversations, the analysis. Some of them are more objective, like the pregame routine, the visualization, the hypnosis. Out of all of the tools, which one would you say that was your favorite?
Oh well, mate, we've done so many, man. I'm trying to remember them all. Being honest with you, the biggest thing for me is the thing that's made the biggest difference to me is going into training and games with a kind of free and open mind, and the visualization has helped. But the biggest thing for me was being honest, just talking to you, mate. And um, I know that you do the visuals on the picture board that I can access at any time. And every time before a game, any time before training, I'd have the notes, the very, very quick, just skip over them for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, remind myself of maybe it's of my values, maybe if it's of what my short term goals are for this session. Maybe it's just reinforcing that, you know what, it's only football, and go out there, enjoy yourself, because you're much more than a footballer. All these little nuggets, I think that's probably the biggest the biggest thing for me. And throughout the year, we've always just tweaked them, adjusted them for where my head was at that moment, what the game was, what the situation was. And I think, as I said before, the mental game's so important. And if you can go into each situation with the right mental state, being clear headed, with a positive, growth mentality and all that kind of stuff. And then, as well as that, you have the tools that we've worked on. If things don't go so well, I think that again, you can perform to your best. And again, that's all we can do.
That's great. That's great, bro. It's obviously a big process, but my favorite thing to work on with you or with anybody else is to dive into the process of self-awareness, of understanding why things happen, when they happen, and what happens in your body, where do they come from, the past experiences, the core beliefs. Because in my perspective, that's what creates the biggest changes for life, not just for football. And it's a by step process. If you can build up to more positive beliefs, to improve the self-awareness, that's the one thing that provides the most benefits over the long term.
Yeah, just on that. I mean, like just on that note, yeah, like because we've done so much, mate. It's been hard to kind of process everything together. But yeah, the self awareness um, has been fundamental. So when, like I said, that's that's been just as big as what I said before, actually. But when things aren't going so well, when things, when my mind's reacting in a certain way, I understand it now. I understand why I'm feeling this, why I'm thinking this, why my body's reacting like this. And when you understand it, then we can start to make, oh, okay, I can see this happening, but I can choose maybe a different approach now. And then gradually we can reinforce that. And yeah, that's not good just for football. It's life changing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I hope you're okay with me sharing this. If not, I can cut out from the video. But at the beginning of the process, we do an assessment. We take a test, and we took
Mm,
one in, I think, March, and the second one, I believe, was the end of November. And there was a massive difference. If I'm not mistaken, it was the score was twice as higher in the beginning, at the end of the, not at the end, but when we took the second score in comparison to the first one, in anxiety and confidence, and that is a result of this increased self-awareness.
yeah, massively, mate. And I think just, well, a quick story, I suppose, is that, we know that maybe that I wasn't the coach's favourite. And there was times during the season where, let's say, maybe I could have been used and I wasn't used for whatever reason. But then I think we played a big game against top of the league, and suddenly after not playing for 2 months, I was suddenly, for different circumstances, I was suddenly in the team, and that was quite, you know, that was quite a difficult game to come into, considering I hadn't played for so long, and everyone knows that when you've not played, you're not got the match sharpness. It's difficult, and these guys have just been playing in the Champions League, so they came to us, and it was a difficult game to come in, but with with all the work we've done, it was kind of like a culmination where I was able to put in a good performance. I'll say that. I don't say that much about myself, but I was, and what it's not just a performance, though. It's all the circumstances, all the stuff before it, and it kind of obviously it's not lifting a trophy or something, as obvious as that. But for me personally, it was a nice moment because it showed that previously I maybe wouldn't have had the same resilience and mental strength to get through that scenario. But with the work we've done, it was a massive kind of you know what, this thing might be paying off.
Yes, yes, and let's put it that way. The process goes that you had the things that you could control that we set out for the game, you were able to accomplish, and not only that, being able to have the performance that you were expecting yourself to have, you're able to take pride in having that, in doing the things that are under your control, and not expecting somebody else to tell you that you performed well, or only getting the recognition or the feeling of accomplishment if you win or if you get a trophy.
Mm,
And
yeah,
this
yeah,
is a
yeah.
big part of the process. Not only help you perform, but also helps in your personal life, in your sense of satisfaction, of well-being. It also improves that a lot. And it's a hard process to take because, especially as an athlete, we're so used to only take pride when we win, only take pride when we're the best. And the mental work that we do, that we did, the process that you stick to, we're able to obviously not ignore the outcomes, but take more pride in the things that you can control. And as a result, better performances, better confidence, and a
Mm,
lot of other variables.
yeah. Just on that, I suppose one more thing to add is that, like, you know, from in many ways it's been a bit of a strange year because I've only played 15 games. I'm used to playing a lot more games, and then it's been it was a massive difference from the previous year before that. Um, but in many ways, how to say, it's been a more fulfilling year than the ones before that. Like you said, it's not all about the externals; it's about the internal work, and on the field and off the field, the difference that I feel in myself as a footballer and as a person has been huge. And being honest with you, that's that means a lot more to me than some of the other stuff I've done previous in my career. So yeah, cheers, man, nice one.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy to be part of this journey. I'm happy that you trust me to start doing the work, and I hope it's just the beginning.
Yeah, mate. Hopefully, a few more years yet.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for the time. I told you it would be 10 minutes maximum, 15 maximum. We're
Oh
here for
wow,
24. I
yeah.
really appreciate your time.
All good, brother. Anytime, mate. Anytime. Well, thank you.